All we're going to do is our very first form, or some martial arts will call it like a kata. So what do I think of forms? I think they're really cool to continue practicing your martial arts. They help with health, remembering martial arts techniques. I think there's a reason why some of the original founders of martial arts so many years ago started creating forms and passed them on to generations. I also think it's kind of cool to preserve that history of martial arts. With all that said, I'm not a super big forms martial arts school personally. We don't do a whole lot of forms. This is the first form that I ever learned in Chinese martial arts. I have modified it slightly. It's like the Hungar plum flower fist form, but I've modified it a little bit to make it some of the concepts a little more practical in my opinion. But the modifications are very slight. So the first thing is we start at an attention stance. You can do this with me, Eli. It'd be a good refresher course for you, right? Eli hasn't done this in many years, but he's gonna do the whole thing for you guys in a minute. So we start here, and it's a little bit of an internal part where we're coordinating our breath with the movements of our hands, and it's very slow to start. So we inhale and we make fists, exhale, and at the end of the exhalation, it's double uppercuts. Now we inhale and we bring our arms up. Now I know Eli keeps his hands open on this one because that's how I taught him it, but I've taught other students to keep the hands closed, and I'll show you the applications to that in a minute. Now we close our arms. We inhale as we lift our arms up. Notice his hands may be open right now, but mine are closed. It's totally fine. I'm going to exhale. My hands drop down. 1, 2. I shoot my fingers out. I inhale. I push my thumbs out, and then I bow. It's very slow, and I want to tell you guys, in my little kids class, we do just that and nothing else, and we call it young dragon form. And the kids love it. They love practicing it. I started doing that form on Zoom during the global pandemic. I started doing that on Zoom because we were facing each other the whole time. It was really easy for kids to follow along with me, so that's how we started doing it. But again, it's like this. Eli may have slight variations. It's very slow. In my kids program, I just add a quick high block, punch, and a big kick, and then we bow. That's not actually how the form goes, but we just add that for our kids. Now, let's see a couple applications of this real quick. Okay, so a lot of it is just coordinating our breath with our movements to start to develop internal explosive power or internal energy, explosive power, explosive energy, however you want to say it, right? It's not some kind of weird like mystical thing or anything like that. It's just basically developing a lot of power in our strikes. So for example, when he strikes at me and if I make some kind of block, boom, that little uppercut right there was what we practiced here, right? It's a guard hand block to the uppercut, okay? This lifting motion here is a wing hand. We saw this in a previous video. And I taught Eli to keep his hands open on this because I've always done the wing hand like this. Blocks you my hands open, and then I use it for a pull and punch. But having the fist is a little secret trick here where I can strike him with my fist at the same time I block. Go ahead and punch with the other hand. Maybe I don't know if, they can't see that as good. Punch with the other hand again. So if you notice here, boom, punching, right? So that's kind of a little hidden meaning in that form, okay? The closing here is more of just like a trapping of the arm there, okay? The high blocks, all right? We don't use any kind of high blocks in our systems like this. If you guys see this video on like YouTube or something like that, you could correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't make this form up, but I have a theory on this technique. And my theory is that, when this form was created, they did have like armor and possibly like gauntlets on their arms, and so if they were being attacked by someone with like a weapon or something, they may have been able to block. So if a strike came straight down at me, I might have been able to block like this. And now look at what I have here. See? So go ahead and strike again. Boom. And I can hit with elbows. Crack, right? Continue the block, finger strikes. This finger strike we saw in like our first movements, I think. If he strikes at me, boom, there's that finger strike. This here, like that, it's your thumb, it's a pressure point. This is actually called twin dragons fly out to sea, which is, I think is kind of cool to know those kind of terms. So this is more of like a pressure point, like, I'm not going to demonstrate that on Eli right now. Pressure points, they're here. There's a pressure point here, okay? If you've ever done jiu-jitsu and wrestled anybody who wanted to try pressure points on you, you know that it's extremely annoying. And so it can be used in a real-life self-defense situation with a finger in the eyes and a pressure point here, a pressure point here, or a pressure point there, okay? So that's some of the basic moves in this. So we're here. Let's do it one more time. Ready? And then we bow, and then we're going to go on to the second section of the form. If you're a martial arts instructor, you may just take that section of the form and call it a good one. This could be the end of the curriculum for you, but if you want to see the form in its entirety, we're going to do the whole form coming up right now. Good.